Dear students, once again good morning. Yesterday I told you about the crystalline state and I started my lecture with the different type of bonding which takes place in materials and causes the formation of the different states of matter. Today I am going to tell you about the crystalline state and non-crystalline state. In a crystal the state is defined. In fact, it is when the periodicity extends throughout the material, it is called single crystal. In crystalline and non-crystalline are two different aspects of solids. Periodicity means that the repetition of the structure takes place throughout the crystal. For example, if there are 4 atoms at the corners of a square, then you keep on repeating the same in 2 dimension, you will get a single crystal in 2 dimension. If you keep on repeating it in 3 dimension, then you will get a crystal in 3 dimension. When this periodicity is extending up to a very small distance, up, which is called the grain boundary, then it is called polycrystalline. It means polycrystalline is made of very small single crystals, made of a large number of very small single crystals, in which the periodicity extends up to a very small distance. And if the grain size becomes very small again, for example, grain size is of the order of then it is called amorphous. For example, when the grain size is comparable with the size of pattern unit, then dear students, you will find that it is called amorphous state. Now you have come across in your UG classes also a large number of definitions which are related to the crystalline state. I will repeat all these things today. For example, periodicity in a crystal, unit cell, primitive cell. I will explain the meanings of all these terms. In any crystal structure, we know it is formed by associating with every lattice point a unit assembly defined as basis. See, I have defined basis. Basis means that point in the form of atom or a definite array of atoms. That is called basis. On the other hand, lattice, it is an imaginary place where the basis will sit. So since a crystal structure is formed by associating with every lattice point a unit assembly, I will later on tell you that lattice plus basis is called crystal. So associating with every lattice point means an imaginary place where a basis can sit. For example, you are going in a marriage and you will find that a large number of chairs are very well arranged, but they all are vacant, nobody is sitting on them. Then the formation of the arrangement of the chairs is a lattice. Now every such chair is filled by or occupied by a person, then the person is defined as basis. And now this, once all the chairs are occupied by different persons, I tell you that it is lattice plus basis is equal to crystal. So dear students, a basis is an assembly of atoms identical in composition, arrangement and orientation. It means, suppose on every lattice point you are going to place an iron atom, then each iron atom must be similar. Similarly, suppose you are placing sodium chloride or any molecule at a particular lattice, then they must be all identical, and this is called basis. We define a translational operator as T vector equals to N1A plus N2B plus N3C and this translation vector has very great importance in crystal structural crystallography, because one can move from any lattice point to another lattice point using this translational vector. ABC are the fundamental translation vectors, and n1, n2, n3 are some integers. And you can see any property of a crystal described by a function f r must be periodic, because this is what we have written here, that in the very beginning of this lecture I told you that when the periodicity extends throughout the metal, it is called a single crystal. So how will this periodicity extend? That is by the help of this particular relation, that whatever value of the function is at a position r must be r plus translational vector t. Then, dear students, the atomic arrangement will look like the same in every respect, and when viewed from any point and from any other distance r, we can write down r dash vector equals to r vector plus t vector. Then I define a new term that is called unit cell, and you know, a region of crystal defined by three vectors ABC and translated by any integral multiple of these vectors can reproduce a similar region of crystal is defined as a unit cell. Unit cell is the basic building block of a crystal. You just keep on repeating the unit cell one after the other in all three dimensions, you will find soon a crystal. This is called a unit cell. ABC, of course, are called basis vectors, which constitute the unit cell in three dimensions. Then we come to another concept, that of primitive cell. See, whenever there is a unit cell which have one atom in it, so when a unit cell contains only one lattice point, it is called a primitive cell. One lattice point or one basis point, no doubt about it. Hence, the set of linearly independent vectors that define a primitive unit cell are called primitive basis vectors. So, suppose this unit cell is a primitive cell, then ABC will be defined as its primitive basis vectors. So, primitive basis vectors are the vectors for any primitive cell ABC. Now, number of lattice points, as I have been telling you, that in primitive cell the number of lattice points will be one only, but in a unit cell it can be two or more than two. It can be even 3, 4, etc. So if in any unit cell there are n c lattice points at corners, in a unit cell n c number of lattice points are lying on the corners of the cell, there are nf lying on the face, and there are nb lying in the body of the unit cell, then dear students, there is a simple formula to determine the total number of points in the unit cell, that is n equals to nc upon 8 plus nf upon 2 plus np. I will explain all these things in my next lecture, so tomorrow, that why we divided by 8 the number of atoms at corner, why did we divide by 2 the number of face points, and 1 multiplied with number in the base, in the body. That I will tell you tomorrow. Thank you.